Thank you, Esther, for that beautiful introduction. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? I'm Ashanti Gholar. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of Emerge, and this is my first time in Vermont. And to be here to celebrate 10 years with all of you is extremely exciting. My journey with Emerge actually started in 2006 when I got an email from a woman named Maria Stark asking me if I would come to an introductory meeting about bringing this organization called Emerge to Nevada because they felt that they could change the face of politics in our state. And that really intrigued me. At the time, I was working for Congresswoman Shelley Berkeley, who was the only woman in our congressional delegation and our highest ranking woman in the state. But I was also the president of the Young Democrats of Nevada, and it was created in the 1960s. But I was the first woman to hold the president position in the Young Dems of Nevada in 2006. So this intrigued me. I wanted to know more. And it honestly seems just like yesterday. We were in a conference room of former Congressman Jim Bilbray talking about, could we do this? Could we actually have the audacity as women who didn't have party positions, who weren't the gatekeepers, who didn't have the deep pocketbooks, to actually dare to train Democratic women to run for office? And we knew we wanted to do that. Fast forward, I had left Nevada and I was at the Democratic National Committee on my second tour of duty, as we like to call them. And in that role, I had a really awesome job. I was the National Deputy Director of Community Engagement, the Director of African American Engagement, and I centered my work on women because we are the base of the Democratic Party. But there was always an area when women called me that I could not help them and it upset me, and it was when they wanted to run for office. I was in my position because of other women who had uplifted me, supported me, and believed in me, but I had to tell other women that I can help them. And that just didn't sit right with me. One night I went home and I started thinking about the future and what I wanted to do, and I knew that it had to be with getting women more politically and civically involved, especially to run for office. 2 days after I decided that was my path, Emerge posted a job description for their first political director. If you manifest it, it will come. I knew that was the job that I wanted. It was the only job that I applied for. A few weeks ago, we actually did our Pioneering Women of Labor event, and I got to honor my friend Julie Green Collier, who is the first Black woman chief of staff for the National AFL-CIO. And I got to tell everyone a fun fact that it was actually Julie's office that I went to hide in to do my Emerge interviews. And now as the president of Emerge, I got to honor her. So that was a nice full circle moment. I left the DNC in 2016 to go to Emerge. DNC really wasn't happy with me about doing that, but I knew it was where I wanted to be. And that year I saw so many women who were excited about Secretary Clinton's run for office, to have that representation. But like most of us in the Democratic Party, at Emerge, we didn't plan for the election day that we had. And I remember that evening talking to my colleagues saying, what's going to happen? We did not have a plan B. But what happened the next day was women calling us, women emailing us, women DMing us because they wanted to run for office. They woke up the next day and they said, if not Hillary, then who? Then me. It has to be me. I have to be the one to step up and run for office. And I was just so annoyed by all of the people who were crediting that man for all of the women that were running for office. And I got a call from a reporter who's like, what do you have to say about that? And I'm like, let me be clear. This is the Hillary effect. This is why representation matters. Because these women know, because of her, even though she didn't shatter that highest glass ceiling, there's so many still at the local and state and national level that we can still shatter. We grew rapidly at Emerge. We expanded to new states, which I got to oversee as political director. We started doing our boot camps, taking the signature program down to 2 weeks, 2.5 weekends, and we saw the victories. In Virginia, we got to see seats that were held by white Republican men flip to diverse Democratic women. In 2018, we saw the first members of Emerge get elected to Congress. And what I loved about 2019 and 2020 is the women that were inspired by Hillary were now inspiring the next generation to step up and run, because they also saw women that looked like them. They saw single mothers. They saw women who had experienced being unhoused, women who had to declare bankruptcy because of the financial crisis. We were creating not just a reflective government, but an inclusive government at Emerge. And we know that in 2020, we got to see our first woman vice president with Kamala Harris. And when I sat down with the team in 2020, thinking about the next vision of Emerge, we had done all of this expansion, but what was the future? And when we looked 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road, it was very evident that the new American majority was going to continue to rise. They were the ones that had been fueling these Democratic victories across the country, and we knew it was time for them not just to be the voters, but for them to put their name on the ballot. What we did was really bold. We created a 15-year plan that centered the new American majority with 3 pillars. The first, reaching 100,000 women of the new American majority. Black, brown, and indigenous women, women of color, young women, unmarried women, LGBTQ women. And I'm so proud to say that Emerge Vermont was one of our very first affiliates to fully embrace this vision, because they knew that it would be effective in Vermont. The second piece, fostering a lift as we climb culture. We currently have trained 6,000 women to run in the Emerge network. Over 1,200 of them currently serve in elected office, from our first Indigenous Cabinet Secretary, Deb Holland, to the women here in Vermont, all the way down to school boards, city councils, sheriffs, judges, prosecutors. But we just don't believe that women have to bloom where they're planted. That's what the patriarchy teaches us. We know that they can run for higher office. They have the old boys club. I like to say we're building the new girls network. So that means having a lift as we climb culture, having them run for higher office, but us being strategic and making sure that when they do run for higher office, we're reaching back and having another Emerge alum who can run for the seat that they're vacating, so we do not lose progress. And the third piece, doing what we do best at Emerge, repowering political structures, focusing on all levels of office. If you look at the top 10 states that have the most women serving in state houses, Emerge has affiliates in 9 out of 10 of those states. Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Colorado created their first majority woman state legislative chambers due to Emerge alums. We have our focus on women in law enforcement. We just launched our Gavel In program, which has already won an award for making sure that we have more women running for judicial seats, because we know that the road to the Supreme Court starts at the state and local level. We created Seated Together, the first in the nation program that focuses on supporting current Black women elected officials to run for higher office. And we are in the middle of establishing our school board curriculum. And I don't think I need to say why that is important. We know that we are effective at training women to run for office, but when they're running for these school board positions, they're going to need additional support with everything that they're dealing with. This is the Emerge vision. This is the Emerge network. And I'm just so proud of everything that we have been able to accomplish, and to everyone who really loves this vision and supports this vision. I came on as president in February 2020, right before the pandemic. Also coming on as the first Black woman to lead our organization. And I knew that, thank you. And I knew the things that we were doing were going to be bold and different, but they are the things that have continued to make us one of the best and most effective organizations in democratic politics with the best return on investment. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. I see we have more people coming in. 10 years is amazing, but I know in Emerge Vermont, you all are just getting started, and I cannot wait to see what the next 10 years is going to bring. Thank you.